Class 11th, Subject Physics, 8th chapter, Sound. From the chapter, let us see Doppler effect, that is, Doppler effect in sound. When a source of sound and the listener are in motion relative to each other, then the frequency of sound heard by the listener is not the same as that of the frequency emitted by the source of sound. That is, the frequency of the sound which is emitted by the source of sound will differ when it is heard by the listener. Hence, Doppler effect will be stated as the apparent change in frequency of sound due to relative motion between the source of sound and the listener. The apparent change in frequency of sound due to the relative motion between the source of sound and the listener. And this effect is a wave phenomenon. This Doppler effect in sound is a wave phenomenon. It holds good for sound waves as well as for the electromagnetic waves, that is, light waves. The changes in the frequency can be studied under three different conditions depending upon the position of the listener and the source of sound, and these three conditions are: first one, when listener is stationary, that is at rest, but source is moving, that is source will be in motion. So when the first condition will be when listener is stationary but source is moving. Second is when listener is moving but the source is stationary, source will be at rest. And in the third condition we can say that when source and listener both are moving, when source and listener both are moving. So from this condition it is clear that to have Doppler effect, either listener or the source of sound or both of them must be in motion, and therefore if there is relative motion between the source of sound and the listener, then and then only Doppler effect will be observed. So let us see now the first condition, that is the source moving and listener stationary. So when the source of sound is in motion and the listener is at rest or stationary, then what will be the formula for the apparent change in frequency of source of sound, that we will have to find. Now in this case, as source is moving, therefore that source can move either towards the listener or away from the listener. So first of all, let us consider that if any source is moving away from the listener, so in this diagram L represents position of the listener which is at rest or stationary, then S1 and S2 are the two positions of the sources. Initially that source will move away from the listener to position S1 and then it will move from S1 to S2. For that purpose, let distance between S1 and L is equal to D, and then the distance between S1 and S2 will be equal to Vs into T0, where T0 represents the time interval to travel from S1 to S2 and Vs is the velocity of source of sound. So that this total distance S2L will be equal to D plus Vs T0. D plus Vs T0, that will be the total distance. And therefore now we can say that let us consider a source of sound S which is moving away from the stationary listener L with relative velocity v which is always positive. So relative velocity between the source of sound and the listener will be always positive. Now let initially at t is equal to 0, the source which is at point S1 So at t is equal to 0, the source will be at point S1 and emits a compression at a distance d from the listener. So when t is equal to 0, at that time the source is present at position S1, that is at distance d from the listener, and at that time it will produce a compression. Then this compression reaches the listener L at time T1, which will be given as d by phi. So the compression produced at this point S1 will cover a distance equal to d with velocity phi, that is relative velocity phi, and will reach to this listener. Therefore, that time interval T1 taken by that source to move from S1 to L will be given by the formula d by phi. Now let T0 be the time period at which the waves are emitted, and thus at t is equal to T0, the source moves a distance equal to phi s T0 and then reaches the point S2. So after this point S1, if that source is moving with velocity phi s and time taken to reach from S1 to S2 is T0, then distance covered S1 S2 will be equal to phi s into T0 and then reaches the point S2. Hence distance of S2 from the listener will be equal to d plus phi s T0, d plus phi s T0. So that distance is d plus phi s T0. That will be the total distance between S2 and L, and thus the compression will reach the listener at T2, and therefore that time interval we will have to find. So for that purpose, when t is equal to T0, distance covered will be equal to phi s into T0. Then distance of S2 from the listener is equal to d plus phi s d T0. So phi s d T0, that will be the distance here, that will be phi s into T0 only, it will be phi s into T0, and so that the compression reaches the listener at time interval T2. That T2 will be given as time interval T0 to reach S1 to S2 plus d plus phi s T0 upon phi. So time interval T2 will be equal to T0 plus d plus phi s T0 upon phi, and therefore similarly we can write here at time Pt0, at time P into T0, source emits its P plus 1th compression. P plus 1th compression will be created there. It will be emitted. P plus 1th compression will be emitted at time Pt0, where P takes values 1, 2, 3 and so on. And therefore, if it reaches the listener at time interval t p plus 1 is equal to pt0 plus d plus p phi s t0 upon phi. If the time interval for this p plus 1th compression is pt0 plus d plus p phi s t0 upon phi, hence the difference between the time intervals P plus 1 and T1 will be given as this difference between these two time intervals will be given as T P plus 1 minus T1 Tp plus 1 minus T1 will be equal to Pt0 into d plus P phi s T0 upon phi minus d by phi. So this will be value of Tp plus 1 and this will be value of T1, and hence from this period of wave T will be given as period of wave t will be given as Tp plus 1 minus T1 upon P. Tp plus 1 minus T1 upon P, and therefore that will be equal to Pt0 plus d plus P Vs T0 upon V minus d by V totally divided by P, and therefore cancelling this P with P at the numerator, we will get T is equal to Pt0 plus d by V plus P Vs T0 upon V minus d by V divided by P will be equal to T0 plus Vs T0 upon V, T0 plus Vs T0 upon V, and that will be equal to, because in this case plus d by V minus d by V will get cancelled. This P will get cancelled with this, similarly with this, and therefore here T0 and here Vs T0 by V will be left, and therefore T will be equal to T0 plus Vs T0 upon V. That will be written by taking T0 common as T0 into 1 plus Vs upon V, which will be equal to T0 into V plus Vs upon V. So this will represent the time period, and we know that frequency is nothing but reciprocal of the period, and therefore frequency n will be equal to 1 by t, which will be written as 1 by T0 into V upon V plus Vs, which comes out to be n0, because this 1 upon T0 will be nothing but frequency n0 into V upon V plus Vs, and therefore we can say that n will be equal to n0 into V upon V plus Vs. So n will be the apparent change in frequency, n0 will be the original frequency emitted by that source of sound, V will be the relative velocity between source of sound and the listener, and Vs will be the velocity of the source of sound, and therefore n will be equal to n0 into V upon V plus Vs will be the apparent change in frequency if that source is moving away from the listener. And therefore from this relation it is clear that if the source of sound is moving away from the listener, in this case V upon V plus Vs is there, here denominator is greater than numerator, therefore this ratio will be less than 1, and therefore n will be less than n0, n will be less than n0. Now instead of that, if the source of sound is moving, towards the listener, then apparent change in frequency n is equal to n0 into V upon V minus Vs. N is equal to n0 into V upon V minus Vs. In this case, numerator is greater than denominator, therefore this ratio will be greater than 1, and therefore n will be greater than n0. N is greater than n0. This will be the first case. Now let us consider the second case, in which listener approaching a stationary source with velocity Vl. So in this case also the listener is in motion and now source is at rest, therefore the listener in motion can be moved towards the source as well as away from the source. Now in this case, initially the listener will be at position L1. Here S is the source which is at rest, and now listener is approaching the source, and therefore it will cover a distance equal to L1 L2. It will move from L1 to L2 towards this source, and therefore again this total distance will be equal to D. Then this distance S1 S2 will be equal to VL T1, where VL is velocity of the listener, and this distance, final distance, that is L2S, this will be L2S, will be equal to D minus VL T1, and therefore in this case of listener approaching a stationary source with velocity phi l, we will have to consider some of the terms, or in this case that listener is now approaching, that is moving towards the stationary source, and therefore consider a listener moving towards the source at rest with a velocity phi l. Then first wave is emitted at t is equal to 0 when the listener is at position L1. So initially the listener will be at position L1 and of initial distance d from the source S. Then let T1 be the instant when the listener reaches to L2. So in time T1, the listener will reach to position S2. Then the distance traveled by the sound to reach that listener S is then given as, so that distance will be given as the distance traveled by the sound to reach the listener is d minus phi l t1, d minus phi l t1, that will be the distance, and hence sound will travel this distance with speed phi in time t, with speed phi in time t, that will be equal to d minus phi l t2 upon phi, d minus phi l t2 upon t. This is distance upon time, that will be nothing but here distance upon velocity is there, that will be equal to time, and therefore we can write time t1 will be equal to d phi l t1 upon phi, d minus phi l t1 upon phi, that will be time interval t1, and therefore t1 will be equal to, it will be written as d upon phi plus phi l, d upon phi plus phi l, phi plus phi l, and therefore as second wave is at t is equal to t0, as second wave will be emitted at t is equal to t0, therefore t2 time interval will be equal to t0 plus d minus phi l t2 upon phi, t0 plus d minus phi l t2 upon phi, which will be written as phi t0 plus d upon phi plus phi l, phi t0 plus d upon phi plus phi l. And therefore in this way we can write next time interval t3 equal to 2t0 plus d minus phi l t3 upon phi, t3 equal to 2t0 plus d minus phi l t3 upon phi, which will be equal to 2 phi t0 plus d upon phi plus phi l, 2 phi t0 plus d upon phi plus phi l, and general we can write for p plus 1th wave, that is tp plus 1 will be equal to p phi t0, p phi t0. So this will be written as p phi t0 plus d upon phi plus phi l. So tp plus 1 will be equal to p phi t0 plus d upon phi plus phi l, and therefore the time interval pt will be calculated as Tp plus 1 minus T1. Tp plus 1 minus T1 will be equal to Pv T0 plus D upon Phi plus Phi L, Pv T0 plus D upon Phi plus Phi L minus D upon Phi plus Phi L, D upon Phi plus Phi L, which will be written as Pv T0 upon Phi plus Phi L, Pv T0 upon Phi plus Phi L, and hence period T will be given as period T is equal to T0 into Phi upon Phi plus Phi L. Period T is equal to T0 into Phi upon Phi plus Phi L, and therefore frequency N will be written as 1 by T equal to 1 by T0 into Phi plus Phi L upon Phi, 1 by T0 into Phi plus Phi L upon Phi, which will be equal to N0 into Phi plus Phi L upon phi 0. So phi plus phi L upon phi 0. So this phi 0 will be nothing but simply phi we will take as relative velocity phi, and therefore we will get n is equal to n0 into phi plus phi L upon phi. N is equal to n0 into phi plus phi L upon phi. This will be the formula for apparent change in frequency when that listener is now moving towards the stationary source. Instead of that, or from this relation, it is clear that when the listener is moving towards the stationary source, at that time here it is phi plus phi L upon phi. So numerator is greater than denominator, therefore this ratio will be greater than 1, and therefore n will be greater than n0. Instead of that, when that listener is moving away from the source of light or source of sound, at that time the formula will be n is equal to n0 into phi minus phi L upon phi. N is equal to n0 into phi minus phi L upon phi, and in that formula this ratio will be less than 1, and therefore n will be less than n0. N will be less than n0. This will be about the second case. And now let us consider the third condition. Both source and the listener are moving. Both source and the listener are moving. So when both source and listener are in motion, at that time the formula for apparent change in frequency is given as n is equal to n0 into phi plus minus phi L upon phi minus plus phi s. N is equal to n0 into phi plus minus phi L upon phi minus plus phi s. Now this will be the general formula. Here it is plus and minus, here it is minus and plus. If the source of sound and the listener are moving towards each other, then upper signs are used. If the source of sound and the listener are moving towards each other, then upper sign, that is at numerator plus and at denominator minus, and therefore formula will be n is equal to n0 into phi plus phi L upon phi minus phi s. On the other hand, when the source of sound and the listener are moving away from each other, at that time lower signs will be used, and therefore formula will be n is equal to n0 into phi minus phi L upon phi plus phi s. Phi minus phi L upon phi plus phi s. So this will be regarding Doppler effect. And now let us consider the next point, that is common properties between Doppler effect in sound and light. So in case of sound and light, what are the common properties in case of Doppler effect? So that we will have to state. Now let us see the common properties related with the Doppler effect in case of sound as well as light. And these properties are: first one, whatever may be relative velocity between the source of sound and source of light and the listener or the observer, then recorded frequency is different from the original frequency. Whatever may be the relative velocity between source of sound or light and listener or observer, then the recorded frequency is different from the original frequency. That means there will be apparent change in frequency of sound or light. Second point is the recorded frequency is higher if wave is relative approach. If that there is the relative approach of the wave, that means if the wave is approaching, at that time the recorded frequency is higher. That means when source of light or source of sound are moving towards the observer or listener, at that time the recorded frequency is higher. On the other hand, third point, recorded frequency will be lower if there is relative recede. That means if the source of sound and listener or source of light and the observer are moving away from each other, at that time recorded frequency will be lower. Similarly, in case of both light waves and sound waves, we can say that n will be equal to n0 into 1 plus minus phi r upon phi. N is equal to n0 into 1 plus minus phi r upon phi. That relation will be obeyed in case of both sound as well as light. Then fifth point will be stated as, if velocities of source and the observer are not along the same line, then the respective components along the line joining them should be chosen for longitudinal Doppler effect. If velocities of source and the observer are not along the same line, then the respective components along the line joining them should be chosen for longitudinal Doppler effect. And now let us see the next point, that will be major difference between Doppler effect in sound and light. Though there are some of the similar points in case of Doppler effect in sound and Doppler effect in light, still there will be some points of distinction between them. Let us see these points. The first point will be stated as the speed of light is absolute, only relative velocity between the observer and the source matters. As the speed of light is absolute, then only relative velocity between the observer and the source matters. That is, who is in motion is not relevant. Second point, classical and relativistic Doppler effect are different in case of light. The classical and relativistic Doppler effect are different in case of light, while in case of sound it is only classical. Then third point will be stated as, for obtaining exact Doppler shift for sound waves, it is absolutely important to know who is in motion. For obtaining exact Doppler shift in case of sound wave, it is absolutely important to know who is in motion. Similarly, fourth point can be stated as, if the wind is present, if the wind is blowing, that is wind is present, then its velocity alters the speed of sound. So speed of sound will get altered due to the velocity of the wind, and hence it will affect the Doppler shift. But in case of light waves, it never happens. So these are some of the points of distinction related with this Doppler effect in sound and light.